Alright, we're back with the Commonplace book. And today we're going to be talking about tags. So I gotta flip to the page, of course. And this is what the front page looks like right now. So we have tags down here, below the passwords. Yeah, we're going to deal with that later. Just don't worry about it right now. It's taking longer to find, because I haven't used this in a while. As you can see from the shirt, it's a new set of, well, videos. Anyways, the tags page is quite extreme compared to normal. And the reason for that is because I decided to show people what it looks like when someone has a bunch of stuff and then they have to shrink it. Well, you know, actually refine the information rather than just being like, I like potatoes. You know, like that's important. But, like, what does that do? I mean, yeah, you're working towards a grocery list. You're saying that you like potatoes, and that's something that goes with a lot of things. But yeah, this is a little bit more than... Let's see what the last page was. Oh yeah, basically nothing. Oh my god, it's not even visible. There we go. So last page said English. Nope. Last page was supposed to say passwords. Getting these out of order. I just got back, okay. Yeah, it's quite nice. Yeah, now some of these are the same word. Yeah, you can pause it, I don't really care. But I am going to close this now, because a lot of these things I can't really use because I just kind of took them from somewhere else. And if it's one word, I think that's fine, but if it's like 3 words, that might be a problem. And a lot of those came from other YouTube channels. I think I was... Well, okay, so basically the way it worked is I was writing down tags over the course of a week or two. Just like, I should write down tags. I don't use tags in my videos, which is kind of a problem. I mean, the last video for me that came out is the one that went over 100 views, which was the first one that like pushed me into having more than single digits subscribers, which is great. But I still have no feedback on what's going on. So I figure while I'm making the Commonplace book, or at least a binder equivalent one, or at least while I'm making a binder equivalent of one, I can, you know, show people how that works. But yeah, that got me totally distracted. Anyways, what I wanted to say is some of the tags probably come from a book, and that book is How Romantics and Victorians Organize Information, Commonplace Books, Albums, and Scrapbooks. I might say Scrapbooks and Albums by JILLIAN M. HESS. Yep, Scrapbooks and Albums. And, you know, Oxford Textual Perspectives. So this is just a random book that I found on Amazon. It's okay. There are a lot of things about it which are, well, they don't feel super beginner friendly. It's a very good book. I've been enjoying it a lot. I'm about halfway through. It's actually the first book I've read in like 5 years. So it is the best book on Commonplace books I've ever read. However, it is the only book on Commonplace books I've ever read. I figured if I was going to make a channel that had Commonplace books, well, I should probably do a little bit of reading, because that's what I'm telling everybody else to do. You know, do your homework. Yeah. And this is definitely not just busy work. This is very good. Although it has a lot of book things in it that non-book readers might have struggles with. Like, for example, it has little things like the former and the latter, which, you know, I understand, but it's just kind of annoying to read. Like, you could just tell me which thing it is. But, you know, it's a little bit of flair, and it's a book, so that's okay, I guess. There are other things like a fell book or a book fell or something, which is in relation to a specific book that a specific person made at a specific time in a specific geographic location. And that wording helps someone know exactly what that is, but the only reason I knew what a fell was because of Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. In one of the movies, they're like, this guy was buried in the high fells of something, and then they showed a picture of the mountain. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. But if I didn't know that, I would have no idea what's going on in here. And there are a bunch of little things like that, you know, in media res or race or whatever. It's like a literary term. I saw that in 9th grade when we were talking about Oedipus Rex, I think. Might have been something else. But yeah, there are a bunch of little things in there that feel a little unnecessary or not totally dumbed down. But yeah, it's got everything so far. I'm really looking forward to the part where commonplace books are used to organize people rather than places and things and stuff like that. But that's towards the end, and I'm getting there. Like, yeah, this is definitely just like like a random sheet of paper. I don't really care about making things as fancy as possible. I just want them to work. That's just a map. It was very cheap, and I think we might have actually had it. But yeah, if something's cheap and it gets the job done, I don't really care. So I think this was like 25 bucks. I don't remember. I got it a few months ago, and I've been going through it slowly. Today I'm actually scheduled to go through it again. I just don't really I don't know if I'm gonna get to that, because somebody I live with went on a trip, and while they're gone I have to take care of a bunch of things. They're not big or long or complicated, but I got a little injury a few days ago and I'm still recovering from that. So it's a little harder to move around, but it's not like impossible. Yeah, I don't think this is like a book review. I'm not saying exactly how it is. I will say, if somebody hasn't taken notes for 3 years, and if they haven't looked through like all the Wikipedia articles relating to, information science, commonplace books, personal knowledge bases, information workers, all the other, like everything related to knowledge work, and if they don't know like the basics about England, Scotland, and that general area, and a little bit of history, like if someone knows a lot about commonplace books, this is great. I feel like it's a little too much for someone who's just starting out. Definitely read at least 20 Wikipedia articles first. Probably more like 200, but if you read 20, it's probably fine. Yeah, I've been holding this for a while. This is a really long video, or at least it feels like it. The first one always feels long. I don't know how many of you make videos, but if you make all of them at the same time, the first one and the last one feel awful. So I think the last video I made in the last set of videos was on passwords. And if you watch that, you're probably like, dang, this is long. And the same goes for the languages video, which I think came right before that, or maybe one before that. But I just kept stretching it out. Like I am right now. All right, we're gonna cut it because it's more than 8 minutes. And no, actually, in the time in between now and the next video for this, I'm gonna be going through the tags. I'm gonna be trying to trim it down. We'll see how that goes. I guess I could read through some of them for you, because it's kind of weird to have a video on tags but not actually talk about any of them. So instead of reading across the top, I'm going to make things a little different by reading down the side, because that way we'll get a little bit of a mix as to the order of when I got the things written down. So we got, well, these are just ideas. Like I said, I haven't been tagging any of my videos. So thinking, how to, quick capture, low cost, information product. Yeah, it's not really an information product because I'm not selling this. If in the future someone wants me to sell this, if you want to give me money for no reason, sure. But no. No edits. Yeah, so I cut the very beginning and the very end of the video sometimes, but other than that, there are no edits. And if you want me to change that, please tell me. Because right now I only have 3 comments on the channel as far as I know. There's one person who's just like, your cat died, my cat died, this is sad. And like, I agree, and thank you for that. And it was the only video, or it was the only comment on the channel for a really long time, which was a little uncomfortable. But it was heartfelt, and it was a comment. And then we have 2 on the last video, so that brings it up to 3. One was kind of like, subscribed, which is nice. I appreciate that. Letting everybody know what you did, and also leaving a comment. That's great. Increasing engagement. And then the other one was asking about an index, which is not something I believe is for beginners at all. You know, if you're reading books like this on the regular, sure, knock yourself out. If you're not, though, other than trying to make it a really fancy work of art, I just don't get it. I really don't. I'm sorry. It just seems like so incredibly overkill, kind of like having sunscreen, which is like SPF 300 to get in the car to go to the store. Like, it just seems so overkill. You know, like right now, I've got tags, and there's a little thing for each little section. And then they're divided in the front. You know, we got the contents page. And of course, you know, the contents page isn't the only form of any sort of index that there's going to be, but it's just so early for that. And I really think if somebody focuses on that, they're just not going to get anything done, because they're going to be like one word, one word, one word, one word, and then if they change anything, it's going to be a nightmare. Because if you have pages like this, where it's just English, sure. I mean, I don't know why you're doing that. But if you have a page like this, yeah, I mean, I still don't get it. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I think it's a lot easier to make, you know, like 30 or 40 sections and then combine them and have like 3 sections become 1 section. And what you're actually doing is making one new name to cover all 3 as like an umbrella term, and then underneath each individual former section is now a subsection. So that way we don't have to do some fancy like, I know everything will like fall down perfectly. We just create a bunch of things and then we categorize them. It's very easy. Like for example, these are tags, which means in the future I will probably add something for descriptions, something for titles, something for something else relating to making videos or the videos on this channel. And eventually, as I add more categories, these will probably all fall under video creation or content creation or internet. You know, if we're if we're really trying to not split everything up, but combine everything into one big mega blob. So yeah, last one I think was information product or no edits. It was no edits, no formal training. Yeah, I am not formally trained in this. I did not go to school for this. I might speak in a somewhat formal way to some people. I've tried very hard to make it sound like I'm just a normal person. However, just saying however kind of gives it away. I went to a private school for more than 10 years, and that's why I sound somewhat more formal. And I also have some wealthier than average relatives. They're not people that are gonna like give me money or anything, but you know, just if you show up to a family event, it's a little different if you know, they're all wearing suits compared to what other stuff, and they talk in a different way, and it's fine. It's just I'm not really sure which. I was trying to say no formal training. That's right. System for beginners. Yeah, I haven't been tagging this as system for beginners, which is kind of a problem. Actually, when it comes to what category this belongs in, I've been putting it under other, which is really probably not what I'm supposed to be doing. Should probably go in beginners. But that's the thing, I don't know where anything goes because I'm just starting out with this sort of channel. This is the first channel where I've had my face. You know, I've had my hand in videos before on a different channel. Well, both hands. I'm not going to show both because, you know, holding something. Time saving. Yeah, if you do this right, it should save you time, not take away your time. Although at the beginning, let's be real, it's going to take away your time. But this should be a lot more efficient than doing it in other ways. For example, if you have a notebook. I don't have a notebook right in front of me right now. Oh, actually I do. Excellent. Sorry, it was like buried under some leftover stuff. If you have something like this, you know, it looks pretty fancy compared to this. However, there's no way to take the pages out. Well, I mean, you can take them out. You just can't put them back in, which is kind of a problem. What else do we have? I keep thinking I'm hearing someone in the hallway, and it's tripping me up. So the reason my words are not working like normal is partially because it's the first video, but also this is not my normal recording time, so it feels like there's somebody moving around, and it's kind of freaking me out. Okay, time saving, doable. Yeah, I'm not really sure if doable is a tag. Like, everything you see on YouTube should be doable, theoretically, unless it's like, well, probably not going to get into that. Accessible. Yeah, this is a hilarious tag because, yeah, I'm trying to make these videos accessible and beginner friendly, but I don't have captions. So, like, if someone doesn't know English, or if they can't hear well, it's kind of the opposite of accessible. It's kind of a problem. I don't think I have, like, strobe lights, you know? So it's not going to cause any epilepsy problems, but it's not really accessible if it is not accessible. So, it gets the job done. I was talking about that earlier. You know, does its job. This is a thing. I could grab it. The problem is, if you're working on something like this, and you are in public, or you have a job, that's rough, buddy. Because if you have a job, it's obviously going to take some time, and if you are in public, it's probably a little difficult to carry this around. So you have a few different options. You could use an actual notebook, like I just showed. That one was big, so you probably want something that's a lot smaller, something that'll fit in your pocket, something that you can just write down with. There's something like this. Should be quite easy, you know. You can just tear off each individual page. That's actually where the bookmark came from. And yeah, it's doable. The only problem is this is very thin and flimsy, so if you're writing, it might like, well, if you run out of pages, you might just like go right through the page. Probably not, but I think you know what I'm trying to say here. And I don't know what other thing we were talking about. Gets the job done. Yeah, this might do it. Another thing you could do is have a phone. I was looking for my phone, it's right in front of me. Duh. You could record your voice and then listen to it later and then write down whatever in here. But this is another case of like, maybe you should just have something on your phone or a tablet rather than on paper. Like on paper is just so much less convenient. It might be better for memory, but the thing is, if you can write down 10 things on the computer, or you can write down one thing on paper, even if you're only remembering 30% of what you type out, the 30% is probably better in terms of information actually put down at first, which is really awkward. I still think it's good to make something out of paper at some point so you can see the physical process and feel how it's supposed to feel. But if you do it on the computer or a tablet or a phone, like it I know a lot of people don't think that's like a standard, so they're going to get upset by it. It's not going to be a traditional commonplace book. It's going to be more like a personal knowledge base. But if it works so much better for you, just do it. Because like, other than holding on to a specific title to brag about, I really like, I don't know why you would do it in a way that doesn't work for you. Another tag is focus. Yeah, I mean, in some ways this helps me focus because I can just write down whatever I'm thinking, and then I don't have to be thinking about it. And I know people would normally say, like, if you're thinking about something, you probably want to keep thinking about it. Actually, not all the time. Sometimes I'm stressed, I've got a stressful thing, and I just write it down. And then some other people might ask, if you're writing down a stressful thing, doesn't that mean you're only going to be thinking about the stressful things? Well, yeah, that's why I have to write down stressful things and things that are not stressful. Just write down everything. It just gets rid of everything in the head at the same time. It's great, especially if it's done in order, because then you can see the order of your thoughts and figure out, oh, I got scared. What happened right before I got scared? Don't do that. I mean, that's probably not what you're going to be doing. That could be the thought process. It's just interesting to see how the thoughts happen. So I just said focus, time consuming. Yeah, that's about right. That's accurate. It's very time consuming. Foundation for Future Investigation. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's about either Michael Faraday or Humphrey Davy or Humphrey. It's either Humphrey Davy or Davy Humphrey. Humphrey Davy sounds more accurate. I think that's the guy who made the Davy lamp, according to the book anyway. I think I have read his Wikipedia in the past. And I think that was mentioned in science class in middle school. I don't know. It's not really relevant. But yeah, Foundation for Future Investigation definitely came from the book, because that's not how I type, that's not how I talk, and I try to type and write the way that I talk. So sometimes it's actually better to write something down in a way that is obviously not me, so that I know in the future, even if there's no note, I did not write that, and that means I need to change it in the future. So Foundation for Future Investigation, we could break that up into Foundation, Future Investigation. Each has individual tags. Foundation, this is kind of foundational. If we are building a base, we could call that a foundation. Future, this channel is focused on the future. I'm trying to make, well, right now I'm trying to make a Commonplace book, but earlier in the channel and in the future, I'm going to be doing something else. But what I was thinking about is content creation. So I'm trying to make videos, which means I need to get better at making videos. So I guess we could say that it works like that. Not really. But yeah, in the future, I want to be focusing on my education project, which is about the future of education. So that is future related. Although as a tag for this video, that wouldn't really make any sense. Investigation. Yeah, we're investigating truth, I guess. Our opinions. I don't really know. It depends on what you're doing. Yeah, I don't use that word very often. So there are a lot of different ways that somebody could use it, but I don't really know what I want to say about that. For educational purposes only. Yeah, so at one point earlier in this channel, I said something was a scam, and like, if someone's selling you something like this, it might be perfect for you. I don't know. I was just mentioning earlier that, you know, maybe in the future I'll make an information product. At the same time, a big part of this, actually one of the main parts of this, is to do it all yourself. Like, you are supposed to know exactly what you're doing. And the only way to do that is for it all to come from your brain. Now, some people will say what I said is incredibly controversial just now, because some people would say the entire point of a Commonplace book is to grab information from other people. You know, just grab the minds of other people and just like throw it in your book, and then you can look at their brains later. I didn't mean that to sound so visual. Anyways, hopefully that one doesn't get me in trouble. Yeah, for educational purposes only. So I'm trying to talk about education, but we're never going to get there. At least it feels like that. For beginners, that is a common trend. I've been saying beginner, 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 beginner over and over again. I should probably stop saying that, because if I say a word too many times, there's always a chance it could sound like a different word. Thinking differently. Yeah, so this sort of thing should help someone think a little bit differently, because you're like moving your brain from your head to the page, which is a little strange. Okay. Understood. Yeah, that's kind of a weird tag. I guess everybody wants to be understood. I mean, maybe understandable? Would it be comprehensive? I don't think so, because that's kind of a different word. Throwback feel. Yeah, that's 2 words. Somebody was telling me, not on a comment, but they were just telling me, like, I saw your video and it has like a throwback feel, and that's kind of nice. Yeah, I don't have editing skills right now, and I have a camera, and that's about it. I can shorten a video. And now that Microsoft has changed some things, I should be able to like take out individual sections of a video. So if I said something bad when I was saying beginner earlier, for example, it might be okay. I'm not really sure, but we'll find out. Memory. Yeah, this is a memory tool. There's another note in here that says technology of memory, which I'm pretty sure comes from the book. Again, gotta reference it. Oh yeah, another thing I think I should be doing is holding this sort of thing up, so that way, if there is a thumbnail that's auto-generated, I can be like, whoa! Hopefully I don't use that individual frame. I'll be really disappointed if I do. But I don't really have a choice over it, because, you know, YouTube generates 3. And so I could either go through all the trouble of making my own, or I could just grab one of the 3, and it's a lot easier to grab one of the 3. Redesigned. Yeah, so like I said, a lot of this isn't really a traditional commonplace book. Someone might call it more of a mess, depending on the person. So they might call it redesigned, but I'm not really redesigning a thing, unless we're talking about the, like, ridiculous number of binders I have in my room, which are being shrunk down into this. But that's not really what's going on. So it's not really redesigned. I guess we could call this version 2 of my commonplace book, but that would be a little silly. And the last one is keep for later. Yeah. That's kind of the whole point of writing things down. You keep it for later. So, I don't know. I'll probably save, like, you know, 20 of those tags or whatever. But considering it's like 20 lines, might take some time. But we'll see what happens. Lots of them are repeats. Wow. I know this video is long, but I have picked up a lot of props. You know, it's like we're going to school right now. Maybe we can get this for the thumbnail. That could be fun. Alright. Thanks for watching. For almost 30 minutes, too. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.